For all of you using Performance Max, you are going to want to listen in to this episode of Tea Talks as Lou is going to share some of the key changes that are rolling out in summer 2025.
Let's tea talk about that.
Right, so Lou, we are going to be talking about Performance Max changes.
Hey guys, you are doing tea talks?
It's yeah, we are, but it's this is hey, look, this is not creative one this time, sunshine. We're going technical on this one, so on your bike, come on. We're going full tech. Thank you very much. Honestly, you can't get the staff. Right, so we're going technical. We are talking Performance Max.
We are indeed.
Which is something we love. Do we love it? We sort of have it. We've had a love-hate for years. I'm now saying we love it. Am I overplaying? I had not prepped that at all. Put her on the spot. Come on.
I love it. I love demand gen. Do I love Performance Max? I think I'm probably 70% loving it.
Okay,
now.
Okay, all right, but go back a year. Where were you? If you were 70-30 now, where were you a year ago?
Definitely 50-50. Hated the fact that I loved it.
Okay, and go back like a couple of years where you like it was it was just like what? No.
Yeah. Just like
so, but that's Google. If Google listening, I mean they're probably not, but if they were,
they are.
they are kind of up with what's going on. But if they were but that's interesting because I would say most marketers are probably of a similar mind that initially. We all hated it.
Yeah.
Then it was sort of like, oh, okay, this is interesting. And then I think it's now just becoming a little bit more, I think what's it been out now? 4 or 5 years? We're all just kind of used to it. And it's just become part of how we do things. And I think more and more marketers are learning to sort of love it. Anyway, slight segue, but yeah, interesting.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. Even the name doesn't make me go, oh, Performance Max anymore.
Yes, but you are loving demand gen. But we're not here to talk about demand gen. We'll save that for another one. We are talking Performance Max.
But first,
okay,
tea or tosh time.
That's right, it's time to separate the real from the rough. Each episode we tackle a bold marketing claim and figure out what's real and what's just plain wrong. And the best part, you get to play along at home. So, is it tea or tosh?
Okay, tea or tosh? Come on then, hit me with that. I almost forgot, but yes.
Are you ready?
Well, as ever as I'll put my teeth in, as ready as I will ever be.
Okay, here we go.
Yes.
True or false, tea or tosh?
Yes.
Home and garden brands perform better on my favourite Bing rather than Google.
Oh, perform. Oh.
It's a tough one, isn't it?
Oh, perform better on Bing. That's got to be tosh.
Yeah, it is tosh.
I'm doing well with these.
Yeah, you are.
We do a similar thing on the pod, on the Grow with Evergreen podcast, which if you haven't yet seen that, make sure you go and check that out. You find it on Spotify and Apple and our website and YouTube, everywhere. Search Grow with Evergreen. It's our podcast. Every week we have a guest on and we delve into their marketing challenges. And on that, we have a little multiple choice. And I am terrible. Absolutely terrible. I think I get about 1 in 6 right. Whereas this, I think I'm on a bit of a running streak. Winning streak. So a running streak. Because I'm talking.
Have a run.
I'm thinking running because I was out running yesterday. I'm trying.
Yeah.
Complete side. No one needs to know this, but I'm going to tell you anyway. I'm probably going to do the half marathon again.
Are you?
Yeah.
That's exciting.
I asked Darren, he's not here anymore.
Yeah, now he's disappeared.
Now he's disappeared because we mentioned running.
Yeah.
Because he did it with me last year. And I said to him, do you want to do it this year? It's in October. It's the Oxford Half. And he was like, no.
Okay.
No. Wasn't even up for debate.
Didn't even go, maybe.
He just was like, no. So, yes. I'm going to do it by myself unless I can rope someone else in to do it.
Okay.
I think it's good. You up for it? No, you're not.
I'm not going to commit on camera.
Right, anyway. Ow, it's in my head. Right, okay, anyway. Come on, hit me with some Performance Max changes. What's going on in the world of Performance Max?
So exciting times, I would say.
Are they?
Actually. Because in the past, we've always described Performance Max as a black box.
Yeah, black box within a black box.
Yes, exactly
That's what I think of it.
And I think now that one of the black boxes is being opened. Yeah.
How?
I know. Well, I guess they've always had that data and just decided not to share it, and now they are.
What are they sharing with us?
So now we can see quite a lot. It's being steadily words lift my brain. It's been steadily unveiled. So we have a couple of clients that we've got it on. One has got an enormous amount of data on it, so it's very exciting.
Sure.
So we can see search terms. We can exclude search We can exclude search terms.
Ooh,
we can see placements.
Good changes.
Yeah, we can see placements.
Okay.
Before we had audience insights, but now the audience insights have gone like one level further. So, for example, Google themselves give the example. I'm so excited I can't breathe.
Calm down.
Google themselves give the example of home and garden in market audiences, and
It's such a good sector.
It's the best.
Yeah, it really is.
Yeah. Whether the audience is resonating with the creative, for example, which is music to our ears. Like
there was a lot there. So just what of those? There was a lot there in terms of people go think, blimey. I mean, each one of them, you reeled off 4 or 5 there. Each one of them is quite a big thing that, as marketers, we've been banging the drum for some time to go give us insights into placements, give us insights into search terms. So does that mean with the placement things for those accounts and Google typically do with their changes is they sort of roll them out. So across our portfolio, we will just that client's got it. Oh, now that one has. Now that one has. Now that. So it rolls out.
Yeah.
So of those different sort of updates, then which to you stood out as the ones where you're like, oh, this is big.
So when I've been looking at, search terms is huge, isn't it?
Yeah.
For me.
Yeah.
But one of the ones.
Why is that? Because I'm thinking people might not know why is search terms. So just explain. Up until now, you haven't had that. So what does that mean? If you're a business, you're selling home or garden products, and you don't have access to search terms, why is that a limiting factor? Why is that an issue?
Because you don't. Well, for a start, you don't know what rubbish you're bringing in.
So
that low intent click. How many of? I know Performance Max generally doesn't is not meant to bring that low intent click in.
Yeah.
But it does. Yes, absolutely does. And so you can kind of see what, much like shopping, but what are the trending items? Why are we being matched to that search term? Yeah. What could we be doing better as a result?
Yeah.
Because if this is a very relevant term, that absolutely should be.
Talk upon yourselves.
We should absolutely be targeting.
Oh, here it is.
That.
Sorry. Yes, there you go. I'm back. I'm back in the room. Sorry, blimey. Yes.
And that kind of helps informs the client for even products. So, for example, today I had a conversation with a client. And they were like, "Well, actually, I just want to understand: should I be showing for what people are searching for now, or should I be waiting until peak? Should I be capturing them early?"
Yep.
And having that search term in Pmax really helps bring that whole picture together.
Yeah, because that was for the you get your search terms in most of the other campaign types, but in Performance Max you would be more reliant on the very limited data you have, and you just didn't know, so you had to trust the algorithm. You had to trust what the data was doing, and in terms of that you had enough signals and the audiences, and that you had your ducks in a row, and go, I'm not going to know exactly what I'm being seen, my ads are being seen for, and how people are searching. I'll trust in the system. Whereas now Google has gone, we'll give you a little bit more of that.
Yes.
That's very interesting. I think that is a big one. That is a big. Any others that stood out?
One of my new favourites is the placement. So actually, no, probably more the channel diversification. So you can go in and see what channel they came in on, and then what they went on to do.
Yeah.
So there's a lovely little visualization funnel thing.
Okay.
But beyond that, because I love a table. Sorry, it's really dull for a lot of people, but I love a table, and you can see the split. For example, Gmail. I've never had any Gmail data.
Okay.
And you can see how many ads were seen with products versus how many ads were not seen with products.
Oh,
and then the revenue attributed.
Yeah. Because we would run typically scripts that would help sort of extrapolate that in terms of placement. So does that mean we're not going to need to run as many scripts? We're not going to need to...
Maybe. I think it's always good to have a critical eye. And I expect in time, once it's more...
Once you trust it more.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So for now, scripts for those that... Do you want to just explain, what do we mean by scripts?
A script is a tool that we... Can I do it simply? Yes, I can. It's a tool...
Challenge, go!
It's a tool that we implement in the back end of Google Ads.
Yeah.
Where you can bring all your data together.
Yeah.
Essentially, it will tap into the data that's available and normally output it into Google Sheets.
Before we go any further, if you're enjoying today's Tea Talk, you'll love our Grow with Evergreen podcast. Specifically created for home, garden and lifestyle brands, it's a podcast dedicated to discussing paid media and marketing. Every episode we're joined by a brand that wants to grow online. We delve into their business, dissect what they're doing and define a digital growth strategy they can take and deploy into their business. And best of all, you get to listen or watch along, then take those learnings into your own business. Make sure you check it out on YouTube, Spotify and Apple Podcasts. podcasts. But for now, let's get back to today's Tea Talk.
Really
So
helpful.
with scripts, they are a way to slice and dice the data
Exactly.
to better understand
Yeah.
that you've spent X amount on your campaign,
Yeah.
and you put X in, you've got Y out, and what you want to see with Performance Max is you want to go, well, of that budget, how much was spent over here, how much was
Yes.
spent on the shopping versus search versus this versus that. Running some clever scripts
Yeah.
there's many things you could have scripts do, but one of the primary things we run it for is so it gives us insight into be able to see, well, actually, did you know of your budget, most went over here, and the best return you got was here, and actually, this is working better than that. So it enables us to better analyse, understand, and then take action on the very limited data that we would get Performance Max. But now,
Exactly right.
what you're saying is Performance Max is just starting to give us some of that.
Yes. And
Which is a lovely thing.
Yeah, and detail we perhaps didn't have before because we didn't have Gmail split out before.
Yeah.
And one of the great things is the video in the script would be very, it was interesting because especially you'd only get a few impressions data, but now you can kind of go on and see what they're doing.
Sure.
So I think from that point of view, and for us, where we're creative first, that is really helpful.
Yeah, it is. So overall, when you're looking, were there any other key changes, or is that there's because there's lots of things, but they're the
I'd
headline
say those
ones,
are the
are they?
headlines. Yeah.
So from our perspective as an agency, looking at that, we're happy with these changes. We're loving these changes.
Loving
these
these
are good.
changes. Can't
So
wait
bring
for
more.
more.
Bring more on Google, please. We'll have more improvements, more analysis. As marketers, we just want more data.
Agreed.
But from a client's perspective, if you're a brand, again, this is a good thing. What is there any actionable things that they can now do? What would you be recommending if you were talking to one of our clients? You'd be saying, well, now we've got this lovely. What would you be recommending they do if they maybe aren't yet, working with Evergreen? If you're not yet working with us, then should they be doing? What could they now do that maybe they couldn't do?
I think there's always been not an aversion. I don't think that's the right word, but if you don't let Google run the videos for you, I think that's very clear from the data that we're seeing.
Yeah.
So get some videos in there. Any social videos will do just to tide you over.
Sure.
Because you'll see from your data that that's going to have the best impact.
Yeah.
Don't be afraid to change your product titles based on the search terms.
Okay,
Test it out.
Yeah.
And test Pmax.
As an overarching, if you've shied away,
if you haven't done it yet, do it now.
But we're still of the mind, are we, that we don't put all of our eggs in the Pmax basket, do we? We're still kid gloves. We still sort of go, we'll play with you, but we're not going to become, your best friend.
No.
Type thing, are we really?
Yeah.
One arm, keep an arm's length.
Yeah.
I think that's probably fair.
Yeah, I think that's fair.
But we are loving the fact that Pmax are finally giving us a little bit more data, and it seems to be drip feeding out, doesn't it?
Yes.
In terms of across the accounts, but also we'll give you this, we'll give you this, we'll give you this. So that's a good thing. I think the signs are good that as marketers we're going to just get a little bit more data, because we have been, I think as a general, if we think about Performance Max and then what's happened with analytics and DDA with data-driven attribution, like if you compare the last 2 or 3 years as marketers that focus and operate in a very digital world, if you compare the last 2 or 3 years to maybe years gone by, like we've been through the mill, haven't we?
Yeah.
In terms of the inability to be able to go, you put £1 in, you got X amount back out.
Oh my goodness, yeah.
And that's where it came from. Yeah, Google returned that, Meta returned that, email returned that. And I know that is the way of the world, and with GDPR and compliance and cookies and all of that, privacy, that is the way of the world. But as marketers, it has been an interesting few years, hasn't it?
It has. It's made, I can see from flip side, from the client's point of view, that conversation becomes tricky because we're like, we just don't know.
You have to, and which is ultimately
is tough for us.
we are looking, and for those of you watching, it's if you're. The reason I'm bringing that up is because I know for a fact there will be lots of people that will watch this. And there'll be people watching this episode in 5 years, which is still a weird concept we're getting used to. Is people are watching our content. We're getting comments on our content from last year that are going, just watch this, loved it, and we're kind of looking, going, we created that months ago. It's really fun. But I know there'll be people that will watch this in time. There'll be people that watch this that will be really struggling with what's working, what's not in marketing. And the thing to remember is that as a concept is not new. People, you go back to the 40s and 50s, people were saying in marketing is half my, there was a great saying, I can't think of who it's by, but it's like half my marketing works, I just don't know which half.
Yeah.
And it was always true when you would do newspaper advertising and Yellow Pages advertising, which advert worked, but so there's always been that element of marketing. We don't quite know what works. And now we're just approaching that same conundrum, but in a very digital way. So it's not a new problem. It's a different problem. But there'll be lots of people out there going, oh, I'm really scratching my head thinking, well, how do I understand? Where do I put do I put more money into this advertising platform or more money here? And I think the conclusion we come to for the clients we work with is we say, look at your marketing in the round. Look at it as a whole.
Yeah.
Look at your total activity. Make sure you're not overly reliant on any one platform. And within each platform that you're not overly, so we would make sure that none of our clients are overly reliant on Performance Max because it remains a black box that we can't control. And then within Google Ads, we would look at that and say, you don't want to be overly reliant, more than a third of your revenue, we don't want attributed to Google or paid ads. We want to dilute that if it's down. So it's get that healthy marketing mix. And if you do that, and then you look at the collective, the sum of all everything together, you can sort of go, well, the total marketing deployed was X, and then the total out over a prolonged period of time of months is Y.
Yeah.
And that, so if those of you watching, because there'll be some of you going, oh yeah, I'm really struggling with what, don't worry so much about where you're putting the pounds. Look at the bigger picture and then sort of break it down and go, does this feel right? In the same way you wouldn't want any more than 10% of your revenue or your leads coming from a single customer or whatever.
Yeah.
You don't want to have an over-reliance on any one bit of your marketing.
No.
So I went off on a complete segue there.
It's
was
so
not going to
true.
include that. Was not meant to. That was not on the...
No,
on,
wait a minute.
I say script. We talk about scripts. On my notes, it wasn't on there, but I thought I'd worth mentioning.
Yeah, I think it's so true. And I think the advent of Performance Max really changed that whole
it was a
dynamic.
massive, wasn't it? In terms
it
it was a case of going, as marketers, you are just going to have to accept that you're not going to know exactly what is working and what you're just going to have to, work with limited data. And I think that if we've seen that across Performance Max, we've seen it across GA, we're seeing it everywhere. We're seeing it across Meta, like every which way we look as marketers, we're going, we're not getting the full picture. So we're having to work with limited access. And that presents its challenges, but it presents its opportunities, and it means you have to look at things more holistically.
Yes.
Which if you do that, becomes way less stressful. We're not stressed. It becomes very easy because then you just look at it and go, well, we put 100k into your marketing, lovely.
Yeah.
And as a business, if we can look at the total and go, well, you put 500 quid in, 500, that'd be a problem. 100k in, 500k out. You go, we got a 5 times return on your investment.
Yeah.
You gave me £1, I gave you £5 back. Lovely. Everyone's happy.
So nice.
Let's push on.
Yeah.
There you go. Right. Hope you enjoyed it. Let us know what you think in the comments. If you agree, disagree, if you've seen these changes, think, oh, this is interesting, you agree with us on the search terms and the placements and all of that good stuff. And if you'd like Lou back, as I said in the last episode, let me know, because then I can encourage her back and I can say, come on, Lou, you have to come back, because the public love it. They demand it and they want you back, because she is very, very good. And I love to get on these T-Talks and pick her brain. So thank you, Lou. Thank you, everyone, for watching. See you on the next one. Take care.